it is time to respec for Ivory King. But first we have some upgrades to get. So we're going to stop by Majula. We'll visit Cloan to restock to 5 Titanite chunks, and we'll get a Boltstone. We already have 2 chunks, so we need 3 more. And Boltstone. Cool. This will allow us to get a +10 Lightning Rapier. Now, I've said before that I'm not a fan of the Sunlight build for this run, and that's still true, but that's not really what we're doing. One of the major downsides of the Sunlight build is that you still need a lot of decks for your bow, but for what we're about to do, we actually don't need a bow at all. So we don't need to invest in any extra decks. Also, with the Hex build that we're about to have, we're going to have plenty of attunement and a good amount of faith, and that's going to make Sunlight Blade a very attractive option. Okay, so let's dump the rest of our souls into some levels before we go. I'll go up to soul level 193. I don't want to get too overleveled in the demo. Looks like I could afford one more. Just make sure you save at least 25,000 for McDuff, because we still got some shopping to do. So let's go visit McDuff and get some upgrades. As I said, we're going to get a +10 Rapier and infuse it with lightning. I'm also going to get a fire short bow while I'm here. This will come in handy in Broom Tower. And then we're going to get a +5 Dark Sunset Staff. This is for Dark Orb, which is for the Knights before Ivory King. And those Knights, the Charred Knights before Ivory King, are by far the hardest part of this run. They make Gank Squad look like a joke. And I've tried everything for this fight. Okay, I've tried Red Iron Twin Blade, Old Knight Hammer, Old Knight Halberd, Swayhander, Blacksmith's Hammer, Bone Fist, Bow, Katanas, Falchion, Warp Sword. I've tried Lightning Spears, Soul Spears, Soul Arrows, Resonant Soul, Soul Mass and Affinity. I've tried Fireballs and Flame Swathe, Lingering Flame, Toxic Mist and Dark Fog. I've tried Chameleon, Profound Still, Promised Walk of Peace. I've even tried recruiting all 4 knights and letting them fight while using the Red Eye Ring. Okay, I've tried everything. And I am here to tell you that the absolute best strat for getting past the Charred Knights hit list consistently is Dark Orb. It is a very fast cast, low stamina cost spell with incredible staggering and guard breaking power. It can stun lock the knights, it can interrupt their attacks, it can even push them back a step when they're shielding so they can't just charge through and hit you. Combined with its range, it makes it very easy, relatively speaking, to find safe opportunities to attack. Honorable mention, though, to the Falchion as the second best option. If you want to go melee, go with the Falchion. Or Warp Sword. Warp Sword is good too, but it's much harder to upgrade. Please do not hamstring yourself by going for the Red Iron Twin Blade or Old Knight Hammer. They are way too heavy, way too slow. You're playing on hard mode with those. But for us, we're going for Dark Orb because Dark Orb is the best. And for that, we want a Hex build. So we're going to go 50 attunement. That'll give us enough spell slots and casts. Then we want our iframes back. So 17 ADP brings us up to 105 agility. And then we need some dark bonus for Dark Orb. So we'll go up to the soft cap of 30-30, plus 1 from Hexersid, so 29-29. And now we need to talk about Ivory King. Dark Orb is great for the Knights. Dark Orb is not great for Ivory King himself. For that, we want some heavy melee DPS. So how are we going to get that? We could go for a bunch of decks and use Ricards, but with this build, that's going to be really expensive, very inefficient. So instead, because we're already at 30 faith, we're going to go up to 50 for just 20 more levels. We can get to 50, and that's going to give Sunlight Blade a good duration, and it gives us a lot of lightning bonus to work with. And that's going to give us enough DPS to take on Ivory King. And we don't need, it also means we don't need any extra decks at all, because Infused Rapiers have pitiful deck skilling to begin with, only 16%, so there's no reason to do it for that. And as I mentioned, we're not going to need a bow. So this saves us a lot of levels for Green Bar, which is really nice, because as I've said before, and I'll say again now, Green Bar saves lives, and that has never been more true than in the Ivory King fight. You want all the stamina you can get for this. Alright, so this is our Hex build, and also this is going to be really nice for Darklurker, because Darklurker heavily resists physical damage and dark damage, but he's weak to lightning. So having that Sunlight Blade ready to go is going to be really nice in that fight. So now we've got our new build. We could go to Ivory King now, but I'm actually going to start with Darklurker. I like it better first as sort of a warm-up for the new build. So let's get our equips in order and head out. We're going to want binoculars in offhand, sunset staff main hand. Chime could go in main or offhand. I'm going to leave it in offhand because I feel like it makes it a little faster to switch to. And for rings, we want caster things. So stamina, bluestone. Arcusar does not apply to spells, so we don't need this now. Stone ring for sure. Stone ring is always good. So for fourth ring, we could go Silver Serpent or Dark Clutch. I'll go Dark Clutch because we are going to be casting some orbs. And now let's go set up spells and head to Darklurker. For the Drangleic, Chasm, and the Darklurker fight, we're going to want Dark Fog followed by Force, a couple of orbs, Flame Swathe, Fireball, and Sunlight Blade. Let's get going. Alright, now I am going to light a torch here out of an overabundance of caution, though you really shouldn't need it. Just to be absolutely sure this Darkstalker doesn't bother us. But we can just run through and enter the chasm. Don't need to talk to Grendel or anything, so really shouldn't be a problem. And now we're in the chasm. And this should be pretty straightforward. We have a very nice build for this. So we shouldn't have any trouble. Just the scariest thing in this chasm is the holes in the floor. Just don't fall, and you'll be okay. Okay, so here's what we plan. We're going to start by sneaking over here. Find this guy around the corner. There he is. I'm going to aim over there. And then we're going to ready the chime. I'm going to cast a fog to get his attention. I don't care if it poisons him or not. I just want to aggro him. So I'm going to lure him back here and use force. Hide around the corner. Force when he gets close. Knock him off the edge. Easy. Just spam force until he falls. One down. And we'll do the same thing for the next one. We'll toss a fog out into that alcove over there. Got him. And we switch to force, lure him back around the corner. Hide around the corner so he draws in close. And then we force. Spam force till he falls to his death. Easy. Okay, with those two down, now we want to take out the Forest Spirit. So he'll be somewhere around this corner. There he is. We're going to poison this spirit without entering his line of sight. Did that work? It did work. Okay. Alright, and then we're going to retreat. Just run away, let the poison do its job. Alright, and now there's only one enemy left, and this is the easiest one of all. Going to step up here, poison, and then we're going to spam some orbs. Dark Orb is extremely effective against these NPC type enemies. Has incredible staggering power. Does good damage. Casts very fast, very spammable spell. She didn't even get close. That was easy. And even if she did, we have plenty of space to fall back. We can fall back over here and kite her around this loop for as long as we need. Just don't fall into the holes and you'll be fine here. Okay, we can kite her around this loop as long as it takes. Should have no trouble. Okay, and now we are going to Darklurker. Here we go. So keys for Darklurker. First is the moveset. You can tell very early on what spell Darklurker is about to cast based on how he moves his arms. So you're going to want to learn those, and I'll write out a full list in the video description. Yeah, definitely learn that moveset. Second is controlling the cloning. Darklurker cloning triggers when it gets below 2/3 health. That's about 1923 damage dealt. So we're going to use spells to control how much damage we deal. Spells are very effective for this because they don't have counter damage or other like variable damage from like rolling attacks or what have you. So we're going to use a couple of spells to trigger his damage, or to trigger his health. Get his damage low without triggering cloning. Excuse me. So for that I want pyromancies. We could use orbs. Would take like 10 orbs, I think. But pyromancies will be quicker. We're going to hit him with 2 flame swaths and 1 fireball. So I can tell you that the flame swaths with this build are going to do exactly 738 damage. The Fireball will do 201 on the first hit, 134 on the second. That's going to get Darklurker very close to triggering the cloning, but it won't trigger the cloning. And then we can wait for a laser, buff up our lightning-infused Rapier with Sunlight Blade, and then we can kill him very quickly before he can get the clone off. So for that, we're going to want full melee DPS rings. So Blades, RTSR, Flins, and Leo. We could use Bluestone at the start of the fight when we're casting spells, but I don't really want to deal with switching rings mid-fight. It's up to you. I'm just going to keep these all on through the whole fight. So we've got our Power Flame ready, Chime in the offhand. We've got Brightbug ready to go. Flame Swathe is ready. Let's do this. It should be a very easy fight. This is one of the strongest strategies you're ever going to get for Darklurker. Let's begin. As I said, we need 2 Flame Swathes and a Fireball. And when he does this orb thing, watch out behind you. The other portal almost always appears behind you or above you. Anyway, that's 2 Flame Swats. 1 Fireball, and now we're ready to go. Okay, so now we're just dodging attacks, waiting for him to do a laser. And his attacks are very easy to dodge. Darklurker has no quick attacks. So there's our laser. Now we buff up. And now we're going to go for the kill. We've got a lot of DPS. Spear whips over your head if you're close enough. You could probably get a kill right now, but I'm not going to risk this orb thing. Should be cloning soon. Okay, he's making this too easy. Yeah, there's the clone. Easy GG, let's go. Very strong strategy for Darklurker. You're not going to get much better than that. Okay. And now we are heading to Ivory King. But that'll be next split. Okay. Let me just set up my spells and then we will be moving on. Here we go, next split.